What is going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Canadian Dose of Spurs. First off, I want to start out by saying thank you guys so much for 150 subscribers. Wow. I mean, the channel is doing amazing. I'm growing so well. It's all thanks to you guys. So thank you so much for finding me, I guess, slightly entertaining. I don't know, but anyways, guys, thank you so much for 150. We're on the road to 200 and on the road to 500. So make sure to drop a like and a subscribe for more content. And yeah, let's just get right into the Tottenham update. So the biggest news that we've had so far today is that Tottenham are prepared to pay Thomas Frank's release clause. According to multiple sources, Mike Keegan, Matt Barlow, Fabrizio Romano, Paul O'Keefe, everybody is reporting that Thomas Frank is pretty much a done deal. It's just pretty much negotiations between Spurs and Brentford. So here we go. It's coming literally pretty soon. I'm pretty sure Fabrizio literally just tweeted this out like a couple minutes ago as of this video is going up. But yeah, it's looking like Frank is almost damn near confirmed. Apparently, Thomas Frank went to Levy's house and had a talk with him, and he was convinced. So I mean, hey, Levy's house must have some pretty cool amenities and accommodations, because wow. But no, it's looking like Thomas Frank is going to be the Tottenham Hotspur manager. And now, from what sources are saying, is that Thomas Frank is not gonna have the final say when it comes to transfers. He talked to Spurs about this. He talked to Levy about this. And essentially what happened is Frank wants to be in the loop of the transfers. He wants to have big opinions on it, of course. But at the end of the day, Frank is not always going to have the final say. Whereas confirmed to Ange Postecoglou, he was the one who had to okay every single signing. So that's very interesting. It really kind of scares me because we already know how Levy is. We already know how Levy operates. And with Levy, he always has his greasy little fingers in the pot at Spurs. Even though he's hired sporting directors to focus on the footballing side, Levy still has his gloves and paws all over the freaking transfer stuff and the football side of things. So that just kind of scares me. I know people have been throwing out the narrative of Frank being a yes man, and I think that's a little bit unfair just because of where he's come from. Like, he's with Brentford. Like, of course he's got to be a yes man. But at the same time, now under Levy and like hearing what these rumors are saying, I don't know. It's definitely scary. I just hope Frank won't get pushed around by the board and he'll be able to navigate Levy, which I have no doubt that he'll be able to do. As I said in my previous video, is that the biggest thing here is that with Spurs, it's not who is the best manager that's available. It's who is the best manager to handle Daniel Levy. That's the reality. So I think Frank is well equipped for that, and I think Frank will be able to make the best out of whatever he's given. That's what I really hope. If his track record holds true, I think that's what will happen. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to Frank. And I know me especially, I've been super emotional since Ange has been going, and I've been super huge on Ange staying. But the more that the dust settles and the more the emotions kind of fade away, I do think this is probably the most logical decision for Spurs in terms of sacking Ange and hiring Thomas Frank. I think Thomas Frank is a very smart appointment. But the only thing I worry about is the European stuff. But I have no doubt that Frank has the tactics to be able to get the best out of the squad and navigate the Premier League season. I just worry about Europe because he's never done it before, and I worry about the cup competitions as Thomas Frank, according to Brentford fans, rotates very heavily for cup competitions. So with that being said, I really hope that he'll take the cup competition seriously, as we've all got a taste for glory at Spurs and we want more of it. So if Thomas Frank doesn't take those cup competitions seriously, we could be in another cycle where we end up just finishing top 6, top 8, maybe top 4, and finish with no cups. Because the Champions League, brother, that is not happening. There is no chance for doing anything in that. So yeah. And the next big story here, coming pretty much literally out of nowhere, is that Spurs have stepped up their interest in Antoine Semenyo. He is on Manchester United's radar. Even though they're pursuing Bryan Mbeumo, they're still looking at Semenyo as well. But Spurs are apparently very interested in him. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I think I like Semenyo, but if it's between Semenyo and Mbeumo, I'm taking Mbeumo any day of the week, bro. I think Semenyo offers something different from what we currently have in the squad, whereas Mbeumo pretty much is, we have people similar to Mbeumo, if that makes sense, i.e. like a Johnson type of figure. But I think that Semenyo offers something a little bit different. But for me, it's like, I don't know, man. I just think if it's between him and like an Mbeumo or like an Eze, I'm taking those two any day of the week, bro. I would like Semenyo, but if the price is right, that is. That's the big thing. I don't want us to get rinsed by a freaking Bournemouth for Semenyo, bro. I think there's definitely better options out there, but I wouldn't be totally against it. I just think that definitely we gotta look at Mbeumo. We gotta look at people like Eze. I don't think Semenyo would really get me as moved, I guess, per se. And obviously you have way more goals with Mbeumo compared to Semenyo as well. So, and I think Mbeumo slots right in. He'll be a perfect fit, especially under Thomas Frank as well. But yeah, so apparently we're pursuing Semenyo. But I've also heard as well is that Semenyo is an Arsenal fan. He did an interview. I don't know if it was like a Sky Sports interview, but he did an interview and he was talking about his favorite grounds to play at. He said his favorite ground to play at was the Emirates. And he said for, I think, pitch or like stadium reasons, but also other reasons that he will not mention. So that tells me that he's probably an Arsenal fan. So if that's the case, I don't want him. I'm good, and he can move along because I'm good, bro. But yeah, I'm not moved. I'm not sold completely. But yeah, another bit of transfer news here is that Mathys Tel is expected to remain at the club, confirmed by Ben Jacobs. So it looks like Spurs will be pushing the button on Mathys Tel for him to remain at the club. What that fee looks like, we're not too sure yet. We're negotiating the price lower is what we're hearing, but I'm not sure if it's going to be in the region of 30, 35. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. Could we get him for cheaper? I don't know, but it's looking like Mathys Tel is going to remain at the club. I like Tel. I think I like him a lot more under Frank than compared to Ange. If Ange was staying at the club, I would have said probably no to Tel, just because of the fact that I think while it wasn't a large sample size, I think we have seen enough from Tel to be like, okay, maybe it's not gonna work for us under Ange at least. But when it comes to under Frank, oh man, I like him under Frank. I think that Tel could really honestly explode under Frank, and I think Frank would be able to get the best out of him and utilize him in the best way to play to his strengths. I think under Ange, the big thing when I watch him under Ange is that his decision making is just not it, and his finishing, his lack of finishing in the final third, also needs to be improved. So whether that's under Frank or Ange, the final third finishing needs to be improved regardless. But I think overall as a player, I think Frank could definitely get a lot out of Mathys Tel. He could almost like explode under Frank. So I definitely would be happy with that if it is true that obviously Frank is coming into Spurs and we sign him. I think Tel would be class under Frank. But with that being said, if we're going to pay more than 35, I'm not doing it. I think maximum like 30. If you do 35, I'm going to be like, I don't know. If you got 40, no. I'm not doing 40. If you do 30, that's perfect. 30 or less, I'm all for Mathys Tel. I'm all for it, man. So yeah, it's looking like Mathys Tel is going to remain at the club. And that leads directly into the next bit of transfer news, is that Tottenham are likely to add another left-sided forward, even though Mathys Tel is expected to remain at the club. They have a genuine interest in none other than Jack Grealish, also confirmed by Ben Jacobs. And this is one that's been lingering around Spurs for like the past year about Grealish coming to Spurs. I think in terms of experience, this is exactly what we need. A perfect signing for experience, proven. You know, he was amazing for Villa. Obviously under City, it hasn't worked that well, but still, he is a very skilled, experienced player. And the big thing with Grealish is the wages. He's going to have to take a wage cut because we are not going to pay the wages that he's on. I think he's out on like almost 300 grand a week. Like, we are not paying that as Spurs. So he's going to have to take a pay cut. But I would like Grealish at Spurs, to be honest. He gives us that perfect experience. And I think if you have him and Tel, I think those are two pretty good options. You could argue that Grealish might be past it a little bit, and he's obviously fallen out of favor at Man City, and Man City are willing to let him go. I think Man City are looking for around 40 million for him. Now, 30 for Tel, 40 for Grealish. I could probably get behind that, but I would like to get lower. I think 30 as well for Grealish should be perfect, or a season-long loan. Season-long loan would be amazing for Grealish as well. So you can definitely get creative with that, but the big thing here is that you're going to have to cut his wages, man, because we are not going to be paying that much. But I would love Grealish at Spurs. I think on Grealish, Madison, hell, if you get an Eze, then you get a Tel, you get Mbeumo, man, we are cooking, bro. Obviously, that's not going to happen. That's too many players. This team is not going to do that. But It just depends like what we're really trying to do. Like if it's like, are we gonna get Eze and Embuemo, or is it gonna be like a Grealish Tell type of situation, or like a Semenyo in there as well? Like we just gotta figure out as a club like who do we really want to push the button on. And yeah, I do like Grealish, so I think he would definitely. He feels like such a Spurs player, if I'm being honest. Like I think it'd be such a good signing, but I would just be a little bit hesitant on the wages. And then of course, is he past it? We'll see. But I think he would cook under Frank. To be honest, I think he would. Breaking news while I'm actually recording right now, Ben Jacobs has just put out a tweet saying that Thomas Frank to Tottenham is expected to be formalized on Tuesday. So we're going to get a here we go tomorrow, it looks like. Or I guess if you're in the UK, then it's already Tuesday at the time that you're watching this. So it's looking like that we're getting Thomas Frank news within the next 24 hours. So a little bit of breaking news while I'm recording, but yeah, that's looking like what's going down. And the final bit of transfer news that we're seeing here is that it's crazy, but Min-jae has been offered to Tottenham Hotspur, confirmed by TBR Football. Honestly, I would love Min-jae at Spurs. I think especially under Frank, it just depends like what we're gonna do in terms of setup. I think Frank is probably gonna be going more attacking, of course, with the players that we have and the squad that we have. But I think Min-jae at Spurs, especially if we do a back three, would be amazing. I'm just thinking of like a Romero, Van de Ven, and Min-jae setup. I think that'd be amazing to have if we do a back three. But if we don't, especially with the news of Ben Davis remaining at the club, I don't know if there's room for another center back at this point. And then we also have Ashley Phillips lurking in the backgrounds. We also have Luka Vuskovic lurking in the backgrounds as well. Will he get a season-long loan next season? We'll see. But yeah, I'm just not sure if there's a lot of space for a center back right now. And we also have Danzo. We also have Radu still here. I don't think we're selling Radu. There's no way that we can with his injury. I don't know. I'm not seeing too much space in terms of center back options. I think we're pretty full. Even if we do a back three, I mean, yeah, you could probably get in Min-jae, and then you have Romero, Van de Ven, or like a Danzo as a first three, and you have a Dragusin, a Ben Davis, and then a Min-jae as the next option. But I don't know if Frank's going to really go for the back three every single game. I think it's just going to be against like the bigger sides. So Min-jae to Spurs, is there room for it? Probably not, but assuming Romero goes, it wouldn't be the best Romero replacement, obviously. I think it'd be a massive step down. But I think that Min-jae would be a great addition to this back line if Romero is staying. But in terms of like a 1-for-1 Romero placement, Min-jae would not be it, man. But it could get a lot worse too. I think there's like a lot worse options in terms of like a Romero replacement. So yeah, I like Min-jae. I think it'll fit Levy's agenda as well in terms of keeping the Korean fans at Spurs. So actually, wouldn't even be surprised if Levy just does it just based off of that fact alone, that he would keep the Korean fans at Spurs. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, man. It's such a Levy thing to do, to be honest. But yeah, with that all being said, that's the update. Like I said, overall, the links have been very interesting, but it's just the same regurgitated news over and over again. Nothing concrete, nothing close, nothing serious. It's just kind of lackluster in terms of like player signings. And the thing that sucks because we replaced the manager is the fact that Frank's gonna want to have a look at all the players. Like for the players that we thought that would leave this summer, i.e. like a Radu or a Basuma, maybe even like a Bentancur, players like that. Like now, I don't know if that's going to happen anymore, just because, even Richarlison as well, just because Frank's going to want to take a good look at all of these players. So it's going to slow down transfers, and we're probably not going to make any big signings, so probably nearing preseason, or definitely not going to be selling players, so probably preseason as well. So it sucks, and our squad is like slightly bloated, and we do have to clear out some numbers, but new manager, we're restarting. Frank's going to have to have a look at the squad. So people like Basuma and Richarlison could still end up remaining at Spurs. So, yeah, man, that's what happens when you just change all the time. But we're in the situation now, and I'm pumped for Frank. I'm really getting under it. And I will be dropping a video soon of what we can expect from Frank under Spurs in terms of, like, how he would set up. I guess, like, where we might be looking to finish in terms of the Premier League table. And just, like, looking at his entire career as a whole. So stay tuned for that video coming soon. And, yeah, it's looking at it's going to be finalized within the next 24 hours. So that's pretty good. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And I will see you in the next one, guys. Once again, thank you so much for 150 subscribers. And we keep pushing, boys. Peace out.